Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 3 in a series. Need to go check something real fast. Alright, I'm good. Let's go ahead and head here. This is going to be on Amazonia. Juan versus Yumiko. Game 3 in what I believe is a best of 5 series. This was taken from Zotac Cup Finals. Normally a best of 5. Here's a 3-game set for you, and we'll see if we in fact have a game 4. Juan spawning as the gray human player on the top right hand side of the map. Yumiko spawning as the pink human on the bottom left of Amazonia, and Yumiko just showing his dominance throughout much of the series so far, winning game 1 and game 2 in very different manners. Game 1, much more of a traditional game. Game 2, utilizing siege engines and griffins in order to take down the undead. Even though Juan did in fact have banshees for anti-magic shell, just wasn't enough, as the destroyers could not stand up to the amount of damage. And you would normally think, okay, griffins versus destroyers, destroyers and crypt fiends versus griffins, and that just doesn't add up. But the damage was sustainable. Yumiko played very smart. He didn't overextend, he didn't overengage, he just attacked when he needed to and was able to do the necessary. We are going to see a scout tower now being placed down by Yumiko in a rather forward location, but that is always very, very good, as undead players have recently been harassing with those skeletal minions rather heavily. Now, undead players in general want to creep out a little bit later. They don't need to get that early creep. Meanwhile, Yumiko is going to have to creep out much more quickly, try to get an early advantage, and then once that Archmage gets to level 2 or even level 3 or even level 4, then try and get those other units up as well. Yumiko got a little bit lucky in game 2. Very unfortunate items for Juan in game 1. A crystal ball, not altogether that useful, as we see now the Renegade Wizard gonna get taken out rather quickly. Claws of attack +6 has been dropped. The Death Knight now trying to make its way over. Is it going to be able to steal any experience? That is a good question there, as the Death Knight now shows up. Perhaps a Death Coil onto the Water Elemental. Yes, he does get the experience from that. 42 experience, and now getting some damage onto that Archmage. Archmage now trying to back away. You can see that this Arcane Tower is about to be completed. You can see some of those Apprentice Wizards just wandering around still, as the Archmage sitting at level 2, able to do laps around that Death Knight. The Skeletal Minions getting off some easy shots there once more, and we are seeing the units now make their way back again. Alright, Crypt still training up a lot of ghouls. It looks like Juan not trying to go for Crypt Fiends this time around, and if he tries to do a mass ghoul push, that might actually come as a bit of a surprise. There are a fair amount of ghouls already out on the field, and if we see more and more... Apparently someone giving me a football update there. Southampton versus Manchester, 3-1. Death Knight still wandering around back over there. I apologize if that is a spoiler-ish. That was from the last weekend, and who would have expected to be updated on football while watching WarCraft 3. Now, Archmage, Water Elemental, both sides just continuing to do their thing. Archmage sitting at level 2, Death Knight sitting at level 2, now getting a little bit more experience, trying to steal some items, and now with Unholy Aura is going to be able to back off. All of these Crypt Fiends actually played pretty smart, all of these ghouls actually played pretty smart. They were able to creep out and then pull away when they were low on hit points, knowing that they regenerate hit points rather quickly on Blight. You can see that they regenerate about 2 hit points a second, and at 2 hit points a second, it won't take long for them to all get up and back up to full hit points. Ghouls now making their way down, and that is going to be a lot of ghouls in this engagement. Another peasant gets taken down. The Death Knight sitting at about 2 1/3 in terms of experience, and now in comes the ghouls. Ghouls now coming in, and this could potentially be a problem. The ghouls do have a lot of damage, and the Rock Golem now taking a lot of damage as well. We're going to get a surround here. Archmage going to get surrounded. Yes, it does, and it is going to be forced to burn a Scroll of Town portal in just a second, as now the peasants are all going to perhaps fall. Peasant after peasant now falling, but the Scroll of Town portal very, very nicely done YTP because he was surrounded and he would have ended up dying. Archmage picks up a Scroll of the Beast that may simply just be sold for Staff of Teleportation and Boots of Speed. No, and she's actually going to decide to keep it. And now where is he moving and regrouping with the rest of that army? Back down over here. Archmage now going to be able to slip back up. Death Knight with faster movement speed as a couple of the ghouls have fallen as well. Archmage sitting at level 3 and now leading the army again, even though there's not a single other caster in the group. All right, peasants currently are in militia form. They're going to start building up here in just a moment. Build up another town hall, arcane towers, and most likely an arcane vault. Death Knight now needs to play this a little bit more safe. Perhaps creeping out creep camps, getting up to level 3 would be beneficial at this point. He doesn't have the necessary damage as we are already going into a slaughterhouse and a lich. Now, if we see obsidian statues and perhaps meat wagons, he may have enough to actually pressure Yumiko's buildings. The problem will be that ghouls are generally low on hit points, and if we do see a quick tech to tier 2, Yumiko can get up that Mountain King, stun and take down a ghoul rather quickly, and then things start to snowball from there. We now see the transition from ghouls into Crypt Fiends being added, one Crypt Fiend at a time. So far the ghouls are just simply retreating and returning back. Plenty of lumber for Juan, as the Archmage still wandering around. All right, Scroll of the Beast. What is going to be happening next? There's one water elemental. Damage is being dealt. And what is this water elemental going to do? Not very much, as those acolytes and also the slow of the Nerubian Tower are going to cause some problems. Here we have it. Crypt Fiend and Lich with a Death Knight trying to creep out this green creep camp. Gonna have no problem. Are we going into gargoyles? Alright, so we are now going into gargoyles coming in from Juan. So Juan actually opening up and doing multiple strategies while also going into tier 3. This does not make any sense whatsoever. Perhaps one gargoyle versus a zeppelin, and then that would be it. But the footmen are already running straight up inside this base as the gargoyle is in the air. All right, so the gargoyle is here. Now pushing back some of those footmen. The footmen are backing off. Death Knight, ghouls, lich, water elemental now coming into position. Are we going to see, yes, a dead footman go down? Water elemental trying to run into the back here. Not going to be able to do very much at all. Much of anything, as the Ziggurat is still in position, and down goes that water elemental, giving in a little bit more experience to that lich and also to that Death Knight. Archmage still looking to creeping out this orange creep camp here, and this is exactly what Yumiko wants. Yumiko wants to sit on 2 bases and just build up a very large bank. If he's able to do exactly that, he'll have a superior economy, and with that superior economy, just absolutely dominate the rest of the game. You can see that the Death Knight is now making some rounds, trying to figure out where his opponent is. Perhaps another water elemental will be death coiled, getting in a little bit more experience once more. Always nice to get 42 to 60, 64, 68 experience there, as the Archmage now utilizes that fireball from long distance and gets in some attacks. All right, what's happening here? Obsidian statue now rejoining Lich, does have Frost Nova, but it has not been able to slow down that Archmage, who does have Boots of Speed and is able to get away rather quickly. Meanwhile, footmen creeping by themselves away from the Archmage. Archmage may actually end up getting very close to level 4 here. No, the footman decided not to engage at all. And the Death Knight still sitting at 3, Lich now at 2. And I can't imagine what Juan's real long-term strategy will be. There is one gargoyle here to keep track and make sure that there is no Zeppelin play whatsoever. Plenty of ghouls back inside the base, sitting on a lot of lumber at this point, as a panda has now been picked up. All right, so Panda being the 3rd hero of choice coming in from Juan, and Panda is going to be forced to perhaps use Breath of Fire to take down footmen. Now, if we see a transition into destroyers, that would be an even better call, as Juan's Breath of Fire will be able to take down flying machines pretty quickly. Here we have it. There is a Wand of Illusion. That Panda taking a bit of damage already, and now we'll see all of these rock golems fall in here in just a moment. Rock golems gonna get taken down. There is the summoning. There's the essence of blight. Ziggurat now being placed down as Juan wants to establish up an expansion of his own. Did that Archmage pick up any items? Dust of Appearance? I don't believe so. And what is this Archmage doing? The Archmage is currently just invisible. May drop a water elemental in the back and then just try and do a little bit more harassment. Now, are we gonna... Oh, Sappers. Oh, Yumiko now going to be utilizing Sappers to take down bases, and this could potentially be huge. The problem is the Sapper going to make it? He runs straight into the Black Citadel, gets in a little bit of damage, and we'll see if there is going to be any more follow-up play. Archmage still hiding in the back here. No true sight at all, as the Death Knight is perhaps wondering where that Archmage in fact is. Yumiko executing some cute plays. And as we are now hunting a gold mine, players have often wondered how come Undead players do not set up these expansions. Well, we now need to see more acolytes being trained coming in from Juan, which means that he will end up being in low supply. And start to be taxed. You can see 3 acolytes already. You can see more ziggurats now being added here as Lich now taking a little bit of damage, or at least an illusion of a Lich. Both sides just creeping out. Orange creep camp, Archmage sitting at level 4, Panda sitting at level 1, may get to level 2, Lich sitting at level 2, will get to level 3, and then the key question will be, is anyone brave enough to creep out this Granite Golem? Granite Golem, rather difficult to take down. Panda now sitting at level 2, has been purged a little bit. Renegade Wizard will be falling as the Archmage and the Mountain King leading the charge, ready to take down this main base. Death Knight and Ghouls are in position. Black Citadel still suffering from that earlier attack, and now we are going to see that engagement. Ghoul now coming in, Death Knight in position. Where is that Archmage going? Archmage now running into the back of the base here as the Ghouls are forced to run. Is it going to be enough? One fireball, and oh, there you have it. Archmage will be able to teleport away without any problems. No silence coming in from a Dark Ranger, and Archmage is able to regroup with the rest of the team. All right, in comes the Sacrificial Pit, Spirit Tower, now being upgraded as well. We'll see what's going to be happening here as the Panda, picking up Gauntlets of Ogre Strength. Yes, there you have it. The Death Knight now benefiting from 75 extra hit points. We'll see if that makes any big difference, as we are also getting Storm Hammers from those Griffins. Juan now continuing this fight here. Panda now making its way in. There, I believe it's Drunken Brawler and Breath of Fire, or it could be Drunken Haze. We'll see what's going to be happening next. Level 3, level 2, level 3. No one going to be able to level off of this as a Belt of Giant Strength. Is it going to be given to the Panda? Yes, Panda now has, 2 Belts of Giant Strength. 1 on the Death Knight, 1 on the Panda. All very, very strong, as we now see a massive invasion into the expansion. No Necropolis, no ability to Town Portal inside here, as the Water Elementals simply walking around. There's the Necropolis now, but the Necropolis is a little bit too little too late. Spirit Tower does deal a lot of damage as the Acolytes are trying to get away. One Acolyte, does get death coiled, turns around just in time. There's a Stormbolt on a new Acolyte, as that Acolyte does get taken down once more. Both sides are still fighting. There's some Devour Magic. The Destroyer going to be able to get off some easier shots onto some of these units as well, and Juan looking very strong at this point as another Water Elemental gets taken down, and I believe this Footman goes down once more. Alright, Archmage, Mountain King, and Paladin, the human trifecta hero, now up. We are at Castle, as Yumiko sitting at 50 over 84 supply. Meanwhile, Juan sitting at 54 over 80, and Juan has to like his chances right now. Death Knight sitting at 1200 hit points. That is a lot of hit points to be had, as we are now going into this next engagement. Let's see, Panda now trying to make its way over, trying to taste down this Kobold Taskmaster. It looks like it will get taken down rather quickly. There it goes. Sentry Ward for the Panda, and I believe may get up to level 3 here in just a second, as the Death Knight, nope, the Panda, yes, should be able to get to level 3. There we have it. And now what is happening next? Dragonhawk Riders with 2-0 upgrades. Death Knight, Lich, Panda, 4-3-3 combination versus a 4-1-1 combination. and somehow the Archmage is still pretty much controlling much of this game. No Banshees as of yet. We can see that there are some Gargoyles as there is Cloud now being cast, running straight up inside the space. That is going to be a quick retreat. Staff of Preservation saving the unit. No Frost Nova on the Mountain King. Is it going to be enough to catch up? There's the Scroll of Town portal. Both sides burn one. And where is this Mountain King going to go? He's going to teleport back home. One Dragonhawk Rider now simply running back. What items are sold, not quite sure. Doesn't matter. But the total gold for Juan at this point, 270 over 90 supply. Yumiko sitting at 74 over 84. And what are these abominations going to be doing? No, what are these? The destroyers need to be added here. You can see Crypt Fiends. Are the Crypt Fiends going to be enough? One abomination. That abomination is not going to stay alive for very much longer. As we could see an attack here, perhaps creeping out these red creep camps. The abominations are perfect for absorbing damage while the Crypt Fiends do their thing. All right, let's see what's going to be happening here. Griffins testing the waters, moving forward, moving back. A new obsidian statue. You can see more gargoyles are being added, and the gargoyles are going to be able to deal a lot of damage to those units here as we now see some more absorb magic. That means an engagement should be coming in sometime soon. You can see that some of those abominations have magic. Oh, sorry, those destroyers have magic, mana, but they are so anti-magic that you can see that their mana is actually slowly depleting from them. Where are we going next? Where is this next engagement? Are they going to be able to catch up the Death Knight with his Unholy Aura, trying to move a little bit faster? And the Crypt Fiends could get off an easy attack. And that Meat Wagon, is there a Meat Wagon? That Meat Wagon will get taken down rather quickly as there's a Breath of Fire now saving the unit. Archmage now in a bit of trouble. Death Coil, oh, Potion of Invulnerability, saving it just in time. Wow, a little bit of a dicey there as a Footman gets taken down. 74 over 90 supply. Yumiko could train up more Griffins again, as we now see another engagement slowly coming into play. No Meat Wagon in order to take down all of these guard towers, and even if there was a Meat Wagon, those gargoyles would just simply do so much damage so quickly, it wouldn't even matter at all. Sentry wards are down. Let's see what will be happening next. Both sides are getting into position. Death Knight illusion now wandering around. Are we going to perhaps see creeping out of this location here? The granite golems could fall rather quickly, but there are a lot of destroyers. Will be happening next. The Death Knight buying a scroll of healing, and a potion of lesser invulnerability. And here we go. There is the engagement. The abomination needs to get up and close. Destroyers, all they can do is really watch and hope that they win out on this fight, since they do only deal magic damage. Granite Golem has been taken down. What item has been dropped? Death Knight doesn't have it. Panda. Okay, so the Panda picks up the Hood of Cunning. +4 agility, +4 intelligence. Not altogether that useful. I believe Helm of Valor is the one. Hood of Cunning. I think Helm of Valor is the one that Juan was pretty much looking for. Let's take a look. Supply 80 over 100. Yumiko sitting at 79 over 96. Yumiko has 3-0 upgrades on these Griffin Riders, and that is potentially huge. Ghouls just working the lumber line, tearing it all down. And what is happening next as we are going into another obsidian statue? Sitting at 89 over 100. We now are at high upkeep. Juan is in a bit of trouble. There is one Meat Wagon here, and I believe the Meat Wagon is just there to try and protect from any siege engines. Now, each of these games have been very different so far, so I hope you guys are enjoying them. Death Knight sitting at level 4, Panda sitting at 3. I believe it would just be a smart call to try and engage and take down these Granite Golems, as the Granite Golems do give a lot of experience. In comes the Lich. There, come on, get the attack off. There you go. The attack now coming in, but there is a flying machine nearby. There is a boulder to the head. Gargoyles could try and engage, and here you have it. Both sides are fighting it up. The Granite Golem now trying to back away, and what is going to be happening next is the Rock Golem actually dealing some damage there. Granite Golem is going to be backing off again, and this is going to be very, very strong for Juan. Juan is going to have a lot more experience. Level 4 on the Lich now. Death Knight is sitting at level 4. And now also has Endurance Aura. So an Endurance Aura and Endurance Aura and Unholy Aura on that Death Knight, moving extra fast, and also, I believe, attacking extra fast, which should be very, very beneficial. Let's see. 2-0 upgrades. Are we going to see 3-0 upgrades? Necropolis going in now to the Sacrificial Pit for Shades, as we now see mass flying machines. All right, that is a lot of flying machines now coming in. We are at 87 over 100. And what are they doing? They seem to be stalling out. And it's really going to come down to whether or not the destroyers have mana. If the destroyers have mana, their splash damage will be much more effective than the flying machines' splash damage. If the flying machines can engage against those destroyers when those destroyers do not have mana, then all of those destroyers will simply just get shredded in the air. You can see how many flying machines are on the field, and wow. Do you think that Shade was spotted? All right, what's going to be happening next? 3-0 upgrades. Crypt Fiends, this is all going to be cutting it very, very close. Only one Obsidian statue that I can see. We are seeing at 95 over 100. We're going to have a 100 supply fight in WarCraft 3 in just a second. Where are all of these flying machines going to be traveling off to? And what are they? How much damage are they going to do? 0-0 upgrades on the Abomination. That Abomination is not long for life at all. Lich, Death Knight, Panda. Panda needs to get off a Breath of Fire on top of all of those units here. Let's see what's going to be happening. Unsummoning of the gold mine, and here's the engagement. Here you go. Both sides fighting it out. Where's the Breath of Fire? Why don't I see it? There it is. There's some Breath of Fire as Cloud now coming in. So many flying machines coming in as well. The Acolytes perhaps should be on auto repair, and this is just an absolute wrecking ball coming straight up in here. All of these units, Militia now being brought over as well. Archmage sitting at level 5. Panda was unable to really get off the necessary damage to really fight here. The Panda now sitting at level 4. Are we going to perhaps see another Breath of Fire here? No, we are not, as it gets taken down. And I believe that is pretty much going to be it. No more Breath of Fire. Lich now trying to fight back. Perhaps could have Frost Nova'd some of the Griffin Riders and then get some splash damage onto the flying machines, but that is just not going to be enough. Lich now trying to fight back here. You can see there's so many Griffins and flying machines with 3-0. Destroy everything. As you see, the flying machines are going to finish this all off here now. Down it goes. There goes that meat wagon in just a second. And this is going to be the GG. Yumiko taking 3 straight games, utilizing a superior economy, something that we don't get to see all that often. Down goes that Obsidian statue. And that is going to be it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I believe it's just a foregone conclusion who's going to win this fight. Juan just trying to make this a little bit closer, but I don't think that there's anything that can really be done. Crypt Fiend's trying to fight back. There's a Death Coil saving it. But yes, Yumiko just coming in with a superior strategy, and Yumiko knowing that all of those destroyers did not have mana, destroyed everything in just a matter of seconds. There's a Death Coil to try and save the Lich. It does work. Staff of Preservation saving another unit. Death Knight still engaging. That Crypt Fiend does get taken down with a Stormbolt. Both sides still fighting it out. Death Knight, Lich continuing this battle. Paladin is still in this fight here. Not quite sure how this is all going to work. There's the Stormbolt. There goes the Death Knight. And now there is the GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.